let me ask you something. When was the last time you froze under pressure? That moment when your name got called in a meeting, your heart started racing, and your brain, it just totally blanked out. Now, let's flip that. What if you could train your brain to stay calm, think clearly, and lead with authority, even when everything is on fire around you? I think for many of us, our days are like fire drills, right? And sometimes, depending on your role, you're responsible for so many things that you feel like you're fighting fires each day, right? Because here's the truth. AI can write your emails, it can analyze your data, and it can even predict your next move. But it can't replace your mindset, especially your mindset under pressure. So today we're going to dive into how to strengthen the one advantage AI will never have, which is your human edge. So let's look at why we crack under pressure, because we've all been there, and no matter how good we get at it, there are still situations or there are certain people that make us crack. So be honest with yourself, right? Do you ever walk away from a conversation thinking, why did I say that? You know how some things just come flying out of your mouth and you're thinking, why the heck did I even say that? Or maybe, why didn't I say anything at all and I just sat there quiet? You're not alone. According to American Institute of Stress, 77%, you heard that right, 77% of professionals, they experience physical symptoms of stress, and nearly half say that it is getting worse by the day. But here's the real kicker here. Most people don't fail because they're unqualified. They fail because stress, it hijacks their mind, their body, and their performance. So the question becomes, if stress is inevitable, can performance under pressure be trained? And I'm here to tell you that it is, and it's something that I help to do. So if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing, because I'm bringing a lot of videos your way and how we can work with AI, how to be leaders, whether we have a title or not, and how we can get through all of this pressure, this anxiety, and we can be clear. So have you ever wondered why your body reacts the way it does? I know that I have. I mean, sometimes I'm in a situation and I can feel that I'm panicking and I'm thinking, why the heck am I panicking about this? This is so dumb. Why are your hands, sweaty before a presentation, or your voice is shaking in a tough meeting? Here's the science behind all of that. When pressure hits, your amygdala, your brain's built-in alarm system, it fires right up. Sometimes we feel like, I don't want that amygdala because it's making me insane, right? But your body floods with adrenaline and with cortisol. And blood leaves all of your logical areas of your brain, like the prefrontal cortex, right? And it rushes into your limbs because your brain thinks they are facing a threat. It doesn't know the difference between a stupid meeting, anxiety, or you're overreacting to something. It just reacts. But here's the twist on all of this, right? The threat isn't, being chased by a tiger, right? Everybody talks about that, but none of us are getting chased by tigers. It might be your boss, your client, or being just in a boardroom meeting full of high-profile decision makers, right? So according to MIT Sloan research, performance can drop by as much as 40% under pressure. So if your brain goes primal in a modern workplace, how do we reprogram it, right? There is hope. No one's born with this. You're not born with this baby. You're just having to have another skill that you need to learn in order to get through it. And you can. You see so many confident people around there, right? That they can get through all of this. And it doesn't matter if they have a title or not. I know a lot of really confident and great presenting people that don't even want the title. They just want to contribute. So let's talk a little bit about the CLEAR method. I built the CLEAR method to answer that exact question. How do you rewire your response, your body, the way that you react to everything? Because I noticed something across every high-performing professional that I've coached or I've worked with, and even me. The problem wasn't lack of skill. It's not lack of knowledge. You are smart enough, but it's lack of clarity under stress. So let me ask you, how do you normally react when the heat is on? Do you freeze? Do you fume? Or do you talk too fast? Right? Let's think about that. Sometimes we ramble on. But here's a better way. One that's trained and not emotional. So the C in calm is calm your response. So this is what I talk about on all my videos. Breathe and get yourself together, even if it's for a few seconds. Breathing is important. Do it for everything, even for non-high pressure situations, because then you just get used to doing it. So before you speak, do you breathe? Some people don't. If you really take a time to be present, you're like, I'm not breathing. Even one deep breath, it signals to your body, I'm safe, I'm all right. And you are. You're not in danger. The L in CLEAR is leverage awareness. So do you notice you're easily stressed and what your cues are? What are the things that really set you off? Make your heart race, that shallow breathing, that tunnel vision, right? You can't change what you don't see. So you need to put yourself in present moment of what's making me feel like this? Or look back on a situation that you did not perform as well as you wanted to and think, how did I react? What were my body cues? What was that like? What really set me off? The E in CLEAR is engage emotional intelligence. So how often do you pause to read the room instead of reacting to it, right? Sometimes we just get talking, we throw up our slide decks and we're just like jamming slide decks forward and back and not even really addressing the room to see and check in if it's understandable information, if they have questions, right? Because we're nervous. But we have to learn, how do we pause? How do we breathe? How do we reflect? And how do we read the room and bring them in? Because our presentations, regardless if we're just as, a contributor to part of a meeting or you presenting to a crowd, it's about the group. It's not about you. So according to Harvard Business Review, 90% of top performers, they have high emotional intelligence. And that is not by coincidence because they're working the room, right? Think about those individuals that really speak well, that capture the audience, that you go into a meeting, you think, wow, you came out with so much direction. Why? Because they're reading the room, right? They're making sure everyone's in tune, making sure everyone is on the same page. The A in CLEAR is act strategically. So do your words come from emotion or intention? So when you stick to the facts, you stay calm and you can influence outcomes, not arguments. So sometimes there are people in the room who are just a trigger, and I know it. I have those people too. I do. There are people that I know they're going to come into the meeting, they're going to be jerks, or they're going to have that comment, right? And sometimes I get emotional. But you have to know your cues of what is causing that, right? So you get ahead of it. You're like, I'm not letting them get the best of me. I'm going to control that emotion. So do your words come from emotion or intention? That's something you need to ask yourself. And the R in CLEAR is rebuild confidence. So do you reflect after tough moments or just move on? Or do you just sulk and ruminate? That's not good either, right? Confidence isn't built from getting it right. It's built from learning what to do the next time. Our lives are a learning game. If we screw up, it's okay. Forgive yourself and move on. Because the longer that you spend ruminating, thinking about how you messed up and, just really coming down on yourself, if you took that time to say, all right, I did that. I messed up. What am I going to do next time? You could spend all that time preparing for the next time instead of spending all that time in a negative zone, right? So don't spend your time there. Take a minute. It does hurt. We are human, but move on. Find a way to move on. So why do these types of skills matter more than ever? Let me ask you this. What happens when AI can do almost everything except think clearly under stress, right? That's where your advantage lives. AI can mimic knowledge, but it can't manage emotion. It can analyze data, but it can't read a room. And it definitely can't look a client in the eye and rebuild trust after a tough conversation, right? Think of even a lot of this customer service that you may reach out to for a failed product and you get an AI bot. How frustrating is that, right? According to the World Economic Forum, the top skills of the future, they're not technical. They're not. We can get AI to do a lot of this stuff. The top skills are human skills, emotional intelligence, resilience, adaptability, and complex problem solving. So the question to you is, it's not, will AI replace me? It's, am I training the one thing that AI can't replicate? My mindset under pressure and my ability to communicate and read the room so everyone feels heard. So let me be transparent. I wasn't always calm under pressure. I used to walk into meetings and completely lose my words. I'd prepare for days and still panic when it mattered most. Have you ever been there? That moment, you can feel your credibility slipping as your confidence fades. Yeah, me too. I've been there so many times, and is the reason why I needed to find a way out. But once I learned how to train my stress response, how to reframe pressure as a challenge, not as a threat, everything changed. I stopped reacting. I started leading. And that's the real human edge for composure. So here's your reflection question for the week. When pressure hits, what part of you shows up first? The calm strategist or the panicked survivor? We don't want to be the panicked survivor, right? Before your next high-stakes moment, before your next difficult meeting, when you're going into the meeting, you have a pitch or that tough conversation, take 60 seconds. Breathe, pause, and reflect. Label what you're feeling and remind yourself, I can't control the pressure, because you can't, but I can control my performance within it. It's all the way that you respond. And that is leadership, that's clarity, and that is your human edge. So if this resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who's leading through pressure right now. And if you want practical tools to train this skill, grab my free guide, 5 scripts to stay calm and credible in high-stakes conversations. I'll place a link in the description below. Because remember, when pressure hits, stay human. We'll see you all next time.